Coach, we stood about here at the beginning of the year, and I think at that time you were very, very optimistic about this team. As you look back on it, has it been exceeding your expectations? Did it maybe make you think, boy, I tell you what, we're pretty good forecasting what your team is all about at the beginning of the year?
A little bit of both. We won 5 straight invitationals. We struggled a little bit at the Hall of Fame. We did well at NCC. Somebody just played better than us. And in matches, we were undefeated. So I think our scores overall-wise were going to be a little lower than what I was – sorry. I'm trying to think here. Our scores, I think, were a little higher than what I was expecting for some. But as a team, they've come together and supported each other and really had each other's backs. And if somebody has a bad day, somebody else – has a really good day. So it's balanced out. I'm definitely happy with where we are. I can't complain about where we are. We're like 80-15 or something crazy like that. So I'm definitely happy, and I think we're hitting on really good cylinders right now.
So would it be fair to say you're probably playing your best golf right when you need to be?
I think we will. I think I have a really good feeling. I would hate to jinx us, but I have a really good feeling. Saturday we'll go and have a really solid round. The girls are laser focused, and that's in golf probably the most important thing you can do. You can't be mentally somewhere else and go play a good round of golf.
We'll talk about the course in a couple of moments. What if you were to kind of pinpoint what has been the biggest key for this team the entire year? You mentioned that if somebody's down, somebody's up, and they pick them up. But from a playing standpoint, when you get out here on the golf course, what has been the major key?
If we putt well, we win. If we putt well, I think we can compete with anybody. Sometimes we just struggle with reading greens, and not even necessarily reading greens. We just struggle with confidence on the greens, and we spent more time practice-wise have been at least 80-90% around the greens. We don't use the range. What you saw today on the range was not normal.
Really?
I trust these girls to know their swings, and if they feel something's a little off, they can fix it. They're all very intelligent, and they can get that figured out pretty easily on their own. And if it's something wrong, they're also naturally talented and have worked really hard with their full swings. I can watch them for 2 shots and be like, hey, this is what you're doing. Okay, we're good to go. But the greens is about confidence. You almost have to have a form of arrogance about you on the greens. You got to know that you're the best putter out there. You got to truly think that. And if you don't, then you're going to struggle. And we've struggled with that a little bit this year, but we're due for a good day of putting. We've had a couple of them, and we've played really well, and we're due for another one.
Is this course that you'll play on Saturday, is it a course that when you look at the greens, are they going to be favorable to your game?
Yeah, they're a lot like here. They're small greens. These are all the greens at the Elks for the most part are pretty big. But in terms of how they roll, how they feel, they're pretty similar. Hitting the green Saturday is going to be the key thing, getting up and down, because they are so small. Here you aim for the center, you hit 20 feet right or left, you're still going to be on the green. There you hit, a little bit more than that right or left, and you're just off. So you got to get up and down. And our team, if you look around, we got little flags all over the place. That's what they're working on. They're working on getting up and down. They're working on exact situations that they're going to see at the course on Saturday.
Does that play from a mental standpoint when you say that you're smaller in the greens? Does that play into effect when your players are thinking that I have to be a little more perfect, not necessarily perfect, but I have to be a little more on Saturday when it comes to getting on the greens?
Yeah, there's a saying, if you want to be perfect in golf, you're never going to succeed, because you can't be perfect in golf. You can have a perfect shooting night at basketball. You can pitch a perfect game. You can have a perfect game in hockey at the net. You can't have a perfect round of golf. There is no such thing. Nobody's ever done it. The course is undefeated. So yeah, you just have to put a little bit more focus and emphasis on it. And they have to realize, hey, I missed the green, but normally I'm going to be on the green, so I just have to work on getting up and down and really focus on, this is basically a lag putt. I just have to do it with a wedge instead.
Coach, I'm going to get to weather now, because you've been playing in such hot temperatures, and things are actually going to be kind of comfortable, at least it appears to be on Saturday, if not a little maybe cool. Does that play in a factor at all from a mental standpoint? Because sometimes it can get pretty brutal out here when it's 95 degrees, but now you get more comfortable temperatures on Saturday.
It helps. You don't get tired as fast. When it's hot, you just get mentally drained. You get physically drained. You have to worry about keeping your gloves not sweaty and dry. When it's nice and cool out, you don't have to worry about that. And that was something I thought mentally wise going into the season, our team was going to struggle a little bit with mental toughness. I didn't think we were very mentally tough. Now I have no questions that we are. So that's definitely it. We had a practice in a downpour, and I didn't let them go in. So they've literally practiced in every condition. They'll be ready for that. They've been there. They've done it. So it should be something comfortable. And it being cooler is definitely going to be a benefit.
Talk about the field now, and I was looking at some of the scores, and you're right there when you compare sectional scores. When you start looking at some of the other teams that you'll be facing in the regional, who is up there and who are some of the teams you're going to have to compete with for the top spots?
There's some teams, but we don't worry about them because you don't worry what the person you're playing with scores because you can't play defense. You're not pitching. I mean, it's the same thing. All these analogies. You just gotta go play out what's in front of them. So I'd be a hypocrite if I sat here and talked about them when I've been preaching to the girls. Hey, focus on the course, focus on you. Don't worry about anything else. But there's definitely a lot of talented teams. We always have one of the toughest regionals. We're glad we're right there with them. We know we can compete with anybody, so we just gotta go play our game. And if someone, same thing as the NCC, if somebody plays better, they play better. They deserve to win. It's not that we lost. Somebody just played well.
Yeah. My last thing for you, don't you peek a little bit though and kind of look at some of the scores from other sectionals and such as head coach?
Yeah, I have a number in my head that I think if we shoot a certain number, we'll be fine. A range. That's always good to know, but there's not anything you can do about anybody else. So there's not a whole lot of scouting when it comes to golf other than the course. And we had a practice round earlier this week, and we played and did shots that we think are going to be important. Where are you going to be? Where do you want to be? If you miss, where are you going to be? Where you have to do to get back to where you need to be? So yeah, I peak. I know I could tell you 1 through 20 who's ranked, but this team's the important one. That's the only one I'm worried about.
Yeah, I said last thing, but are you really anxious to see how your team's going to compete on Saturday? Is it hard to sleep in the next couple of days getting ready for Saturday?
I haven't slept much all season. I'm really competitive, so I'm always up trying to figure out what I can do to help them. If they're struggling anything, I'm trying to figure out what I can do to help them out and how we can get better. And if you see my wife, you can ask her. She knows I don't sleep. I'll be up in bed thinking, and I might tap her on the shoulder and be like, hey, she doesn't know anything about golf. So then she's like, just shut up, let me sleep. But she's been really supportive too, so that's always good. But no, yeah, I'll definitely be up. I know they'll be anxious as well, and we'll probably have a short practice tomorrow. That way they can focus and go get homework done and just try to mentally relax them and be ready to play Saturday.